Are you unsure if your marketing is actually effective or not? Today, we're going to talk about 2 key marketing metrics that you need to know to ensure you have profitable marketing in place. Hey there, I'm Abby Johnson with Matterhorn Business Development. If you're new to us, we are a business coaching firm. We work with business owners to help them strategize in every area of the business so that they can grow faster. We also focus specifically on profit and cash flow and specialize in that area. And making sure that your marketing is leading to profitable customers and profitable cash flow is key, because sometimes running ads can feel like lighting money on fire. So on one hand, you have to have someone who knows what they're doing in running those ads, but you also need to understand what the metrics and data are. And it's important for you as the business owner, even if you aren't the one running the ads, you need to know these numbers so you understand what's going on in your business and how you can have an effect on these numbers. So today we're going to be talking about 2 important marketing metrics. There are a ton of different marketing metrics. You could go into Facebook Ads Manager and every column in there is going to have a different number and metric that you could learn about, but I'm going to give you 2 key ones to know about, again, as the business owner. And then I'm also going to show you how to calculate and read these metrics. What are they telling you? What can you change? How can you improve these metrics? So the first thing we're going to talk about here is CAC, customer acquisition cost. This is the total cost of acquiring a new customer. So when you're figuring out this number, you need to factor in your marketing and sales expenses. So if you have other softwares that you're using, maybe you're doing Facebook ads, but you're also doing an ad in a local magazine, or you're part of a networking group, or you're printing flyers, any of those associated marketing costs need to be factored in. Of course, you need to factor in your ad spend. That's usually the big number. And then also your salaries and commissions for salespeople. So if you run an ad and it gets you a customer for $80, it costs you $80 in ad spend. You also have to think about, well, you're also giving X amount of dollars in commission to a salesperson, whatever your structure is there if you have a salesperson. Or maybe you're doing all the sales yourself right now, but you want to hire a salesperson. It's really nice to do that calculation now of, okay, if I had a salesperson and I was paying them commission, how would that affect my customer acquisition cost? So the formula is you take those total expenses and you divide it by the number of new customers acquired. So we're going to look at an example here. I'm using a lawn care company as an example. These are fake numbers, but just gives you an idea of what this could look like. So this is supposed to be for a month. This must be a pretty booming lawn care company because they apparently got 50 new customers in a month. But the ad cost was $2,000. Salaries, so like let's say they have a full-time salesperson, $4,000 a month. Software and tools, so maybe they have a CRM or Jobber or a Route CRM or something that's also following up with leads or following up with customers and that sort of thing. So total marketing costs is $6,500 for the month, and you divide that by the 50 new customers, and that gives you $130 for the customer acquisition cost. Now for you, when you're doing this, you might want to look at the past 6 months, or maybe not just look at 1 month since things ebb and flow, or maybe you just started doing ads and only look at that month you were doing ads, whatever it may be. You might want to look at more than just 1 month, but this is an idea of what kind of number could come out of this formula. So why is this even important? Why do you need to know this number? Well, first of all, it's going to tell you how effective your marketing and ads are. And I'm sure that you could find benchmarks for your industry. And again, if you have someone running ads for you, I would really hope that they know and that they're setting a goal to reach that for you and your company. But this is going to tell you whether the ads are working or not, how well the ads are working, if they're actually bringing in qualified and quality people, if they're targeting the correct people. So again, you as the business owner, even if someone else is running the ads, you need to know this number. And I believe put pressure on that person running ads, whether it's internal or a hired agency. You need to put pressure on them to get you the best number possible. You want that number number to be as low as possible, of course. And this can also influence your pricing. I think a lot of people forget to factor this into their pricing. So, hey, if, let's say your product costs $2,000 to deliver, that includes your pay and, you've got a 40% margin and whatever, but you aren't thinking about, well, it actually costs about 10% to acquire that customer. Maybe your pricing needs to be $2,200 instead of $2,000. This is also going to help determine your marketing budget and help you forecast and predict. So if your goal is to get 50 new customers a month and you know that your customer acquisition cost is $130, or let's say in this scenario, they want to double. They want to get 100 new customers a month. Well, then they're going to have to spend $13,000 a month to get that. This is a little bit different because maybe your sales team isn't going to increase. It probably will if you're doubling the amount of traffic coming in. But this gives you an idea of what to shoot for. I need to plan for a $10,000 marketing budget. Now, obviously, this is a bigger company. If you are a smaller company, you shouldn't need a $10,000 a month budget. This is just an example. Please keep that in mind. So next, I want to talk about this next metric, and that is LTV, the lifetime value. So this is the total revenue a business can expect from a single customer account over the life of their relationship. So as long as this person is buying from you, this is what you can expect to receive in revenue from them. The numbers you're going to have to pull together to get this final number is the average purchase value. So what is the average ticket or average cost that your customer is spending? You need to look at how frequently they spend. So, are they on a subscription service where it's 12 times a year? Are you an HVAC company where your customer needs you about 2 times a year for checkups or cleanings or whatever it is? So you need to figure out that number of how frequently someone is buying or giving you money. And then the lifespan of that customer. So at what point does that customer fall off? Is it after one time of using you, or is it after 5 years? You need to go back and get that number. And the way we figure out the total lifetime value is by looking at the average purchase value times the frequency, and then that number times the customer lifespan. So let's look at an actual example of this. So again, lawn care company, let's say their average purchase value is $100, like $100 a month for mowing or whatever. That's 12 times a year. They just pay you once a month for however many. I know here in Florida, we're year round, so I pay my lawn care company the same amount all year round, but they're only mowing my lawn twice a month in the winter, and all the other months is every week, and the pricing is just kind of averaged out. So we're going to just use a simple example like that. So that means the annual revenue per customer is $100 times 12 months, $1,200. In this scenario, the average lifespan is 3 years. So you do that average revenue per customer times the 3 years, and you get $3,600. This is your average lifetime value of your customers. So this is so important to understand. Now, how can you increase the lifetime value? How can you make that a higher number? So what if the customer lifespan was 5 years instead of 3 years? What if the average purchase value was $125 instead of $100? So if you did that in this formula I just showed you, change the average purchase value, change the lifespan, you get a $7,500 LTV as opposed to the $3,600 one. So just by increasing that average purchase value by $25 and increasing this now 2 years is a lot longer. That's almost double. You're almost doubling the LTV here. Some ways to increase this LTV and actually achieve that is improve your customer experience, especially in these home service businesses. Guys, it's not that hard to be better than your competition and get your customers to stay around. All you have to do is show up, do what you said you were going to do, and do a good job, and people will stay with you. So this means following up regularly, having regular communication with your customers, doing a good job. I feel like I shouldn't have to say that, but as a customer, I can tell you I've experienced not good jobs. And this also means just taking care of your customer. If they want the bushes trimmed a little bit shorter, even if you think it's stupid, just trim the bushes a little bit shorter and make them feel better about it, okay? Now, don't do something, I have a whole other tangent about, the customer is always right. If you know something is going to harm their lawn or their AC or whatever it is you're doing, their back, if you're a chiropractor, I work with a lot of chiropractors, you obviously aren't going to do it, but just actually take care of your customer and care about their needs, their wants, listen to them. It's really not that hard. This is going to count towards longevity. This is going to extend the actual lifespan of the customer customer. And then the other thing you can do, of course, is upsell and cross-sell. So in our lawn care example, this means maybe you have different lawn options of including trimming or not, or hedging or not, or leaf removal, or whatever it may be. You can add these upsells to your recurring subscription. Of course, in lawn care, there's also landscaping, actually planting things. That's usually where the money is in that business. But you get the idea. Is think of ways that you can add even just $10 or $20 to that monthly fee or that visit. If you add 10% to every purchase, that's going to impact your LTV overall. Now, this is the important thing I really wanted to show you, is the LTV, lifetime value, versus the customer acquisition cost, because this is where things can get tricky if you don't understand this, and it can feel like your marketing isn't working. So for example, I have a client who was running ads, and he actually said, Abby, I turned off my ads. And I was like, what? Because he felt like he wasn't getting a good enough return, because he was just looking at, hey, it's costing me $130 to get this customer, and then the job we're doing for them is only around $200. So it's not really that profitable. It doesn't make sense for me. But I said, hey, how many times does this customer come back though? You have repeat business. So he wasn't thinking about this lifetime value part. He wasn't thinking about, he paid $130 to get $3,600. And in this person's case, it was probably more like $10,000, to be honest. We need to sit down and figure out his lifetime value for sure. But my point is, look at it through this lens of, you're spending $130 not for that first month where they only pay you $150, but you're paying to get this lifetime value. Even if you look at annual, what's the annual revenue? Not even lifetime revenue, but what's the annual revenue you're going to get from this customer? Then you're going to see that it actually is a profitable ratio, and that you are running profitable ads. Now, this definitely does pose some interesting cash flow problems, and I understand that, because that's one of the things I'm talking a lot with my clients about. So what if you have, the first payment you receive from a customer is less than your cost to acquire them? That doesn't feel good. I get it. So different ways that we can address this is, first of all, you want to optimize your ads. As I said earlier, you want to make sure you can get that cost of, I'm going to just say CAC for short. You want to get that CAC as low as possible. If you have someone else running ads for you, this is where you put the pressure down. Say, hey, what can we do? Can we do this better? Because a lot of these agencies, I don't mean to like poo-poo on agencies, because there are great people out there, but a lot of times they'll just find one thing that works and then they'll leave it, and they won't try to maintain it or improve it. So it's up to you as the person paying them to kind of put some pressure down on, hey, can we improve this? Can I get more for my money? What can we do? Some other ways that you can mitigate this cash flow issue is you can have some sort of setup fee or down payment. Obviously, this is depending on whatever industry you're in, if this is applicable. Definitely collect cash up front. This net 30 situation, I don't care what industry you're in, you need at least a down payment. I don't care if it's unusual in your industry. Believe me, I have talked to those people. I have had clients like that, and people understand. Most of the time, people understand that you need some cash up front to complete a job. So really try to get a down payment. Or let's say you are a situation where you're an agency or you're delivering professional services for someone, and I've even done this before, where I start working with someone and the first month is more intensive. So I charge more for the first month because I'm doing work outside of our call times. I'm doing extra reports. So I do charge more for the first month. So you can see if that makes sense for you. You can have a subscription model, of course. We could have a whole presentation just about that. Definitely look at being the most efficient as you can with your cost of delivery and your expenses, and keep that in mind. Adding a new lawn to mow on the same street or in the same neighborhood isn't going to increase your cost that much. It's very efficient. That's a good thing to do. But running ads and getting new customers that are spread out all around town, and you're bouncing around town and wasting time and gas, that's not going to be the most efficient for your money or for your routes. So just think with, how can you be more efficient with your expenses in the way you're delivering your actual service? And then of course you want to focus on customer retention, because if you're building up retention and you have that recurring business happening while you're acquiring new business, again, your cost of delivery shouldn't really go up that much with a new customer. So that retained customer, their fees and their revenue will easily cover any profitability lost on the first month payment of that new customer. Okay, so those are the two important marketing metrics I wanted to talk about today. These are very important to understand so that you know whether you're profitable or not. And this is even telling telling you, as I just said, you know, do you need to improve your delivery? How can you improve these metrics? And that will lead to improvement of your overall profitability. So if you feel like you need help growing your business and maybe you're really good at what you do, but all of this business stuff we're talking about is not your thing, you know, you're trying to learn more about how to actually run a business, we have an online course and community that's perfect for you. It's called Adventure to Profit. We have different levels of engagement with us, so different levels of coaching. We really have an option here for anyone who's just starting out all the way to someone at $5 million in revenue. There's an option for you on this page, trust me. So check out adventuretoprofit.com if you need help growing a profitable business. And then please check out our channel sponsors, MetaPulse. This is a fantastic software for you to actually input all of these metrics and keep track of them on a daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, yearly basis. I've been using MetaPulse for years, and I can pull up any metric I want from years ago and compare to right now and look and see, hey, what did we do back then that was working? Where did that spike happen? So it's really valuable. You can tell I put value on metrics, so it's really valuable to have these numbers, and MetaPulse is the best place to store this information. All right, guys, that's all for this video. Thank you for joining, and I will see you next time.